people were before cancelling appointments because they've got a hairdresser's appointment, and Paul's like, how disrespectful, like, you've got a plan of care with us and your hair's more important. So they're not seeing the... He used to feel it that way, but then he's saying, no, they're not seeing the value. So we created, because rather than coming out and then saying, you know, if you pay this, if you pay that, we're making it look bespoke to them, as if like, oh, I'm just going to get that printed off for you. And all we're typing in is the name and date of birth and the therapist. So it looks like we're getting the details from the therapist all through. And basically our sheet will say like, so we'll have one for a silver assessment and a plan, and then we'll have one for a gold assessment and a plan. So depending on what the first come in on. And then it's basically all printed out ready for them, so you can actually turn it round to them and say, so this is your assessment today, which is 70. The plan that is recommending is an organic plan, so you're pointing to everything, and it'll have the fee at the side of it, which is this amount in total. And we have a couple of different payment options, so that that person isn't listening or thinking like everything's same or generic, or because that organic plan you want to make as if that's bespoke to them, that's going to help them. But it's pretty much, it fits everyone, doesn't it? Because we're not a quick fix clinic. Like, people need that longer, you know, to get to the root cause and to get long lasting effects from the treatment. So it kind of is a 6 or 9 session that we do, but you don't want to make that sound generic to, like, if there's a new patient sat there, they're more than likely going to go in and what they're going to come out with or an organic plan. So by doing it this way, it can be a bit more discreet. This is the plan that Johnny thinks is going to benefit you most. It consists of, you know, you could actually spell it out to them, because sometimes I used to feel a bit uncomfortable and I was actually writing it on like a letterhead. And then when that client goes in, because I say, oh, make yourself comfy, have you got a few minutes? I'll get it all like set up so you know exactly what his plan is and blah, blah, blah. And then I used to sit with them on the couch, and when they used to see it, they'd go, oh yeah, or well, I'll pay in advance, or, you know, they'd do it that way. But sometimes they are getting a bit more nosy, aren't they? Like, people will pipe up and go like, oh, what's that one, or what are they having, or... But that's what we've changed and we've added, which we're going to just start using, which might help as well for anyone over listening. I mean, I had a chap the other day and I was asking what he's tried and things before, because obviously we vet them before we put them onto a discovery. If I hear words like, oh, do I get a free massage, and you're thinking like, yeah, you're on the free wagon. We do vet them and we want to ask what they've already tried, or especially in Gisborough, we would say, if you didn't see the board outside today, would you have even considered coming into the clinic? You just want to like ask them type of questions. But a chap had said, oh, I've been to the NHS, he went, and what a waste of time that was. And I said, sadly, like, I hear that all the time. And then I said, so is that all you've tried, just the GP and the NHS? He went, no. And then I went to a private clinic. I said, all right, what did they do with you? Because obviously we want to find out what they've had done first before saying what we would do different. And he said he tried some hands-on technique, he said, which he said I didn't really rate. He said he didn't really do a great deal, although I got some form of hands-on. He said, but then all he said is, well, next time when you come in, we'll just do exercises. He said, and then I thought, well, I'm not paying £45 a session just for exercises. So I need someone to get in there and help. And I said, like, it's sad that that's happened to you. I said, we do work very different. So what I would do on the Mystique is, don't fob this guy off with exercises. Like, he's looking for something different. And then down the line, they might say, look, to help with your recovery, do these at home till I next see you. Like, bed them in that way. But that's what I hear a lot of. Like, people don't have either the time or they're too lazy to do them. So we kind of say, look, we do the work for you. And I mean, even one thing I always like to say, and I think it helps convert them better, is when you talk about the taster session, sometimes you can hear as if you're pushing me or you're selling me onto something, but use the words, and like, I'd even write this down to like get it logged in your head, because once Paul must have said it 1 trillion times, and I think one day it actually clicked with me, and I thought, God, that is like gold. By saying, look, I know you're not ready for a physio appointment, I'm not pushing you to that yet, because you could have called the clinic and booked an appointment. I know you're not ready, and I listened to it. I've heard your story. You know, this is all about you coming in and, you know, tell them what the taste session, but actually tell them that, like, any free report, any new lead that you're ringing out to, I like to say them words like, I know you're not ready for physio because you could have rung us, but instead you've requested the free information. So I know that physio's not right at this moment in time for you. Because once they've heard that, it's kind of like, they get me, like they're not pushing me, like, and you're saying that the taste session, look, it's a non-committal appointment, it's just about you getting the best help and advice to move forward, and ultimately if you think that we're the right fit to help you. So you're keeping it very relaxed, but then they're going to warm more to you because you're saying, I get you, like, I know where you're at right now, I know you're not ready, because you could have rung the clinic, and I know, you know, that's not what I'm doing today. I want to, you know, I want to listen to more about what's going on and to see if there is anything else that could be done to help you or move forward. But that I think, when I say that, I think a lot of people really, really warm to you. Because that's where they're at, isn't it? They've got the number there. Yeah, they've got raging knee pain, but they're not ringing to say, can I have an appointment to help with my knee? They're just thinking, oh, I'll try that first, I'll try that first. And even doing the outbound calls, when if you ever ring them and say, oh, you've requested a copy of our knee pain report from the website, I just want to check, have you managed to get it through safely? Even if they say no, or even if they say like, oh, you haven't had a chance to read it yet, don't go, oh, well, we'll call you back in a couple of days. That's the worst thing you could say, because if they haven't read it in the first couple of days, they're not going to read it. So basically the report is just like bait. It's a bit of bait dangling to get their information, because they have got a problem, otherwise they wouldn't have requested anything free. So ultimately, whatever they say, like, oh, I haven't had a chance to read it, don't worry, what I want to talk about to you today doesn't involve the report. I just want to see how you're doing, what's happening right now, and talk over the report. Don't make it all about the report. Just because they've requested that, don't make that conversation about the report. Make it about still them. But acknowledge that. Say, don't worry, what I want to talk to you about today doesn't involve the report. I just want to ask, you know, why you've requested it, what's been happening, and that'll lead into your rapport with them and to start getting the hooks, etc., from there. The one thing that they need to like stress to, like, more so for the client to hear this as well, because this prevents like drop-offs, is if Johnny comes out and says, look, I've chatted with Mary and Mary is happy to go on the organic plan. I need you to book her in twice a week for the next 3 weeks, but Vicki, I need to see her twice a week at like minimal. You know, and even use words like, if you need to work me over or start me earlier. They don't know what Johnny's diary is. You know, like Johnny might start on an afternoon, so they don't know, you know, where you're working them late or anything. But to say them words so that they're hearing like how important that plan is, as opposed to just saying, oh, just book in twice a week for the next 3 weeks. Cheers, I'll leave you with Vicki. There's no importance. So then that way people then might think, oh, well, you know, I'll miss that one and I'll just add it on next week. But if they can stress that, like, you know, I need to see her twice a week. Just leave a day in between, but I need to see her at least twice a week each week. Please just move, you know, if you've got to work me over, stay late, you know, shuffle some things around, please. I need to, and then they're hearing how important that is to prevent them then from dropping off. That it's not just like oh, I'll just move one on to next week. Because even with the exercise thing, like when I hear that as well, this is just another one to get in. We know when they say like, oh, it's just exercises. Well, we know in fact that they're going to give an exercise or two throughout the treatment, like to progress. So I when we talk about the NHS, I sometimes say along the lines of, you know, there's a right and wrong time to give out exercises. Sometimes you need that hands-on help first. Exercises are great, but there's a time, because you don't want to dismiss exercises fully to people, but then it's not going to help them fully, is it? So I always say there's a right and wrong time to give them. Sometimes you need that extra like hands-on help to relieve everything, you know, to get everything moving for you, and then you can help yourself by strengthening up, because you don't want to say completely like, oh, well, we don't do, because we do that, and we are big on exercises for them at home, but Johnny wouldn't spend a treatment session doing exercises. Like that's not giving them the service of, yeah. Like at the end, he might spend the last couple of minutes to say, this is what I want you to do. He'll maybe do a little demo first, and then he'll get them to do it and say, are you comfortable doing that? But they don't go too far. Like I think the NHS is just, they say like it's stapled sheet after sheet, and it's like, they say, how can you do that? Whereas here, Johnny will go, just focus on this, and he'll circle one. Don't do this is too much for you, or, you know, so they like spell it out that way to them. But But yeah, but you can't slate exercises as well, like at the same time. Like you can't say, oh, that's all the NHS will do. That's all they do with you. Because, so it's always good to say, you know, there's always a right and wrong time, and obviously people do need that hands-on help. It sounds like you, Mr. Whoever, sounds like you need that extra bit of help first before progressing to that. Like that's like at the end of your treatment to keep on top. Yeah, and a taster is that little bit they've either been let down, or they don't know if we're like the NHS, or they don't know if, you know, physio can work. They just want to sit in front of a professional to go, look, I see this day in, day out. That's all they don't have to do or sell anything to them, because it's usually sold on the front end call. So basically when they go in, it's basically Johnny to sit there and go, look, I see that condition about 6 times a day. Like, absolutely. What I'd want to do with you is I'd want to do a full assessment. I just want to determine why it's happening, what's causing the problem, and then what I'll do from there, once I fully know what it is, I can propose what I think's the best way moving forward. But the assessment's going to be the best thing for you. But I see this all the time. And as soon as I hear them say that, although we've said it, coming from a professional who treats that condition, that's all they have to say. Yeah. It's basically like Paul calls it, like they only have to tick a few boxes to just answer like, yeah, I'm a real person. This is me. Yeah. But once they come in here, like they're sitting to Jess and they're having lovely little banter and they're having a couple with her, they're even sold on that, their experience. Like, yeah. That's the whole thing. They're sold on the experience, not just what the physio is going to say to them. It's the whole getting them in, rather than doing that over the phone. In fact, we used to do it, but like saying, oh, Johnny, I'm going to pass this lady on, she's a bit unsure. Rather than Johnny spending 10 minutes of his time or 20 minutes of his time talking to a woman who we can't see, doesn't know any of her facial expressions to what he's saying or anything like that, why not? That's why the discovery session come about. Why not get them in, sit on your couch, meet your lovely staff, and then see someone face to face, where, as I say, they'll go, oh, let's have a little look, yeah, and then they'll do like a tiny little bit of treatment to make them feel even more special, that this doesn't usually happen, but look, I'll show you kind of what I'd do in sessions or something like that. Yeah. And then they feel like, wow, like he's gone over and above, and it's hard for them to say no to an assessment.